Welcome to another edition of Journey of Hope. Stories of people that have been impacted by the healing ministry of Loma University Medical Center. People that have encountered cancer, some kind of a traumatic injury. People that have gone on to be not only a survivor, but a thriver. Just down the road here from the LLBN studio, we have a place that sees 750,000 people every year, 30,000 inpatient, outpatient and inpatient visits there every year. And part of that hospital complex is a children's hospital, a place of miracles, where miracles are taking place all the time. I've asked our special guest today to be with us, Patty Pettis, who has worked with the Children's Hospital for a number of years. And we want to talk about some of the miracles that are taking place. Patty, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you,
Let's
Lynn.
talk about the Children's Hospital, a place of miracles.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about the hospital.
Oh, my goodness. We see so many children every year. I think we see over 135,000 children coming in to visit, 25,000 at the emergency center, and then we have over 15,000 children who stay with us for a while at the Children's as well.
So there's things happening around the clock all the time.
Around the clock.
And we are a level 1 shock trauma unit, so what does that mean for the children?
Well, what that means is we are the only level 1 trauma center for Inland Empire, and what that means is that we provide the highest of critical care, so that when a child hangs in the balance between life and death, and it really needs that critical attention, that child will come to us.
And we have, did you say 15,000 that are actually staying over? And
yes.
We're treating all, what kind of patients are coming in there?
Oh, my word. We have everything from life-threatening cancer to a case of measles. We really do. We have over 277 beds for the children and another 61.
Just for the children?
Oh, yes, just for the children. And another 61 for obstetrics care. So it's a full house, Lynn, and all the time.
And we've got doctors that are specifically designated to working with the kids then?
We do. Every single one of them is board certified, and we have subspecialists in areas, critical areas that you would be looking for around the country. We're one of the few places in the country that has a lot of these subspecialties. Cancer, stem cell transplant, urology, all things pediatric, because you're treating kids somewhat differently than you are adults. They're not just small adults. You really do have to approach them.
So one of the advantages, it seems like, first of all, we're in a teaching hospital,
yes,
and one of 125 in the country.
Absolutely.
But we have a children's hospital that's a separate part of the whole institution then.
Just for little ones.
And these, the doctors are designated that's where they're working. Now, with that many beds, we must be one of the larger children's hospitals in the area here then.
We are, and in fact we have one of the largest neonatal intensive care units in the world.
Is that a fact?
We presently have 87 beds, pretty full all the time.
Now you've been working there with the Children's Hospital probably since the the turn of the century, I guess.
Turn of the century, yes, yes. I actually started out in a different capacity in '93, so I've been at the institution for 16 years.
All right.
But in philanthropy for 8 years now.
And you're working with the children and the physicians. Tell us some of the things that are going on there at the hospital. I know there's a gala coming up now.
There is a
little bit about that.
And I enjoy working with the physicians and the volunteers together to make things happen for the kids. We have a gala which will be, we're coming on 16, 17 years now of successful galas. It will be our 16th. And every year we have a huge fundraiser for the children. We have over 800 people coming.
So this is going to be big. I remember when they were struggling and small, and I remember when you got involved, and they raised how much last year?
Over $650,000.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And the money that comes in, what does it go for? You designated for different things, I suppose.
Different things. It's always greatest need at the moment. So it could be cancer, it could be cardiac. This coming year, it's going to go for the pediatric cardiac transplantation unit, and we would like to honor Dr. Bailey because this is a celebration of 25 years of successful pediatric heart transplantation.
Okay, we're going to come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
We've got a video clip that I think we'll take a look at right now, and it kind of gives us a little bit of a glimpse at the medical center.
They had told us that if she's born under 500 grams and she's not breathing, which most likely she won't be breathing if she's under 500 grams, that they were not going to resuscitate her. They just don't do it.
They will not resuscitate unless they come out breathing on their own, because there are not tubes made small enough to fit down their esophagus.
They would have given her the Shonda, and that would have been it. And so she was born at 420 grams. As small as she was, and as tiny as she was, if you weren't her father or her mother, you'd look at her and say, you know, that poor baby, she's not going to make it.
I had her at 24 weeks, and she was born 14 ounces and 10 inches long. At that moment, I felt like, oh my gosh, is she dead? Honestly, because I had a previous stillborn, and I didn't know if she was going to be alive or dead. And I just knew, like, oh my gosh, please, dear Lord, just watch over her and do what you can. And they told me that she was breathing. She whimpered like a kitten, and she was born.
To me, it was the most beautiful thing in the world, you know, and that was definitely a sigh of relief when I heard her cry for that first time. It was unbelievable. I just looked at her in that incubator and couldn't wait to hold her, and I just knew that it was a whole new world for me to discover having a child, and especially after everything that we'd gone through. And I always whispered to her, I can't wait to see what you're going to teach me in life.
The nurses became my family. They put their whole heart and soul into their job. I could not have gotten through this whole experience without Loma Linda Children's Hospital and the people that have been supporting the Children's Hospital.
To have seen us come and go every day for 4 months now, and knowing that our hearts and our dreams and our hopes and everything was riding on this hospital. There's nothing we can do for her. I mean, we go there and provide the love and the care and hold her, but unfortunately it takes a lot more than that, and we couldn't give it to her.
Yeah, what do you hear?
A birdie.
Birdies? What do they say?
When my daughter becomes 16 or 17, I will tell my daughter that Loma Linda Children's Hospital and the people there had saved her life.
They helped create a family, and that's what I said to the nurse on the way out. And all that technology and the donations they received, it all went to helping to make a family. Loma Linda was an absolute necessity in helping Cora be here with us today.
It was absolutely worth going through everything I did, and I would absolutely go through the losses and the heartache and the pain and the tears to have my daughter. My daughter is an awesome kid.
Family hug. Family hug.
Cora's story is just one of the many, many miracles that are taking place. You were commenting about the 25th anniversary for Dr. Bailey. Tell us about that.
Well, we're celebrating because this is 25 years of successful heart transplantation here at Loma Linda, pioneered by Dr. Leonard Bailey. And you may recall, Lynn, 26 years ago, that there was a baby Faye, who began the whole saga and has allowed over 2,000 infants worldwide to be treated with a heart transplant and to live.
Now, baby Faye was actually a baby from up in the Barstow area, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And was faced with, imminent death because of some problems when she was born. And then tell us a little bit about that story, because we just celebrated that 25th anniversary.
We did. It was imminent death, Lynn, and in those days we had little recourse but to allow the child to die as peacefully as possible. But the parents begged us to try anything that they could, and Dr. Bailey agreed to try something very daring and very unusual. He agreed to take a procedure to bridge while we looked for a baby's heart and to implant a baboon's heart in the child to allow it to live until they could find a human heart. Sadly, baby Faye didn't live more than a couple of weeks, but the lessons that we learned from her, the wonderful gift that she gave the world is that we did learn how to do this, and the next baby who received a human heart lives today. I believe he's about 22, 23 years old now.
Amazing.
Working well out in the desert and carrying on his life with many more right behind him.
Well, I saw some of the clips and vaguely remember what was happening at that time.
Yeah.
But not everybody was excited about this first infant heart transplant. I saw some pictures of people that were picketing the hospital
Yes.
and talking about animal rights and one thing or another. But it was because of that courageous, vision, bold act of faith by Dr. Bailey that it prepared the way. And you said there's almost 2,000 babies that have gone through this now. And the story we saw about Cora is just one of the many babies that come in here. And 15, 20, 25 years ago, they would not have had a chance at all. But now, here at this hospital alone, I understand we've had, over 400 of
Yes.
the infant heart transplants.
Yes.
Yes.
We used to do about 80% of the world's heart transplants once it got underway. Now we do about 50% because Dr. Bailey and his team have taught others around the world to do this, which is our, philosophy, teach a man to fish.
They've been pushing back the frontiers in so many, many ways. And that's what's so unique about Loma Linda University and the medical center, and particularly the Children's Hospital. They're groundbreaking in so many, many different areas. Tell us about some of the experiences you've had with some of the children there.
Oh
and the
my
parents.
goodness, the children and the parents. Last year I was walking a unit and came upon a mother with a baby about 8 months old. And the baby had contracted Guillain-Barré syndrome. And if you know anything about this syndrome, it attacks the central nervous system, and the baby was paralyzed from the neck down, which was terrifying.
And how old was the baby?
About 8 months.
8 months.
So it had learned to sit up and to do all kinds of things, and then this struck it down within 24 hours. And we didn't know whether the child would live or die. So we did everything we could, surrounded it with love and the best technology, and it was many, many long weeks that this baby hung in the balance between life and death. Finally was able to go home, but he needed a lot of rehabilitation. He could barely move, but he had learned to swallow again.
So this is a baby that was already developed and
Yes.
things were going along fine, and then it
Healthy.
came on, and I understand it's within a matter of hours that
Oh, yes.
they become paralyzed and incapacitated. So continue with the story then.
Well, we were finally able to get the child to respond enough to swallow and to take nourishment, and the mother learned how to care for him, and we knew this would be a long journey. We didn't know the outcome. Sometimes people recover fully, sometimes people recover partially. On a worrisome basis, I have to say some people don't recover. But this baby, we thought, well, at least he would have something that he could hang on to, he could swallow, he can move around a little bit. So went home, and they started a really intense rehabilitation program to teach the child how to move its muscles again, and they were moving and manipulating its limbs to try and get it engaged and so forth. Now this was last year, Lynn. And this year, I was somewhere, and I ran into the mother and looked down, and here was this young man, now about 1.5 years, almost 2, in the stroller. And she lifted him out, and he was able to stand, and he was able to wave and do all kinds of things, and he is now learning to walk, and it's just thrilling.
Another miracle coming out of Loma Linda.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I remember a few years ago, we were talking about doing some fundraising for the Children's Hospital, and there was some people started a guild. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the guilds and how they're helping support the Children's Hospital?
Absolutely. We have 3 guilds now. Lynn, when you and I
3?
first started talking, we had one nucleus of a guild, which started in about 2001. And it's the Loma Linda Big Hearts for Little Hearts Guild. Then another one sprang up, and that was the Desert Guild, Big Hearts for Little Hearts. And now, just lately, the Riverside Guild has started. And these are groups of highly dynamic individuals, very powerful women and some men as well, who join
So
together.
you got some men there now.
We do, and it's a wonderful thing. In fact, one of our physicians has joined the Loma Linda
Really?
Guild. Yes, Dr. Don Moores. He's a pioneer, trendsetter.
All right.
Yes. So they hold many great fundraising events and awareness-raising activities for the kids, and sometimes they even work with the kids to build gingerbread houses at Christmas and do the kinds of things that the children wouldn't have available to them otherwise.
What kind of events have they been involved in besides the Ginger House? I mean, they've got some things in the community they're doing.
They do. They have a day of reading for the kids where people can come in and help read to the children. They have some health and wellness checks, some teddy bear clinics. You can bring your teddy bear, Lynn, and have it checked over to see if its heart is responding all right and show its Band-Aid. And the kids could bring them in strollers and get their little stamps and their vaccination passports for Teddy. And it acclimates them to show them that the Children's Hospital is a friendly place, that we love them, that we care for them, that it's not a scary place. There are teddy bear teas. We do a lot with teddy bears.
Yeah.
Children respond very well to that. So we have special teas. We have dressing up red for the young ladies who are heart transplant
Dressing
survivors.
up red?
Yes,
And
yes.
I mean, how many kids will you get involved in something like that?
Oh my word, I think we had upwards of over 20 young ladies who
Did
came
you really?
and shared with the
And
older women.
all dressed in red.
All dressed in red,
Okay.
yes, yes. So wonderful things, just and we couldn't do without them. They have literally funded every area of interest in the hospital and specialized place. These guilds have helped to fund to make a difference.
And I suppose not only do the people get involved in the events, but many of these people that get actively involved, they become supporters of the hospital. And
They do.
Many of them end up remembering the institution, the Children's Hospital, and their estate planning, and just makes all the difference in the world. What are some of the plans for the future for the Children's Hospital?
Well, as we look to the future, Lynn, we presently are the only children's hospital for over 26% of the entire landmass of California. That's over 2.1 million people. And
Here in Southern California.
Here in Southern California, for which we are the only children's
Now,
hospital.
you need to say that again, because so the audience can hear that. 26% of the land mass.
Yes. So if you took a map and you drew a circle around the Inland Empire and you measured that, the Inland Empire's area, geographically speaking, covers over 26% of the entire state of California. And we are the only children's hospital for that entire population. That's a heavy responsibility.
And this part of the country has been growing.
Like gangbusters.
It's really growing in the last 5-10 years.
It has. It has.
So how are we keeping up?
Well, we're bursting at the seams. And we do need people's support. There is a time that we need to look to building, to expanding, to make sure that we continue to have beds enough for the children. We do not turn any child away for lack of ability to pay. But sadly, if we don't have space, what do we do? So we need to create that space, and we're talking now about what that looks like to expand in order to make sure that we always have a place for these little ones.
Yeah, I know, because the entire area here has been growing, and the hospital facilities haven't been keeping pace with the growing population, and that's particularly true, I'm sure, of all the children in the area. So I know down the line they're going to have to expand facilities, and someday, you know, we'd like to have a children's hospital in the area. But that's going to be down the line. But if we're going to keep up with meeting the needs, and you mentioned, you know, our doors are open to anybody and everybody.
Yes.
And we are the only level one, so people are coming in here all the time with critical issues. Well, towards the end of the year, they have some special events going on for kids. Tell us some of the things as in the special time of the year now.
Well, at 5 o'clock today, I'm going to a tree lighting ceremony for the kids.
Okay.
And down in the lobby, the Loma Linda Guild will have Christmas carols going on and serve hot cider and so forth, and we'll bring the children down who are able to come down and watch the Christmas tree being lit. And then for those who are needing to stay in bed, some of us will go and visit them and make sure that they know that we love them and that they will have a very Merry Christmas in the Children's Hospital, because they will.
Do we have people coming in and reading stories? I mean, what kind of things are happening?
We do. We have people reading stories. We have people coming in to help them do homework. We have people who come in to give them gifts. And Lynn, this is a particularly poignant point that I think needs to be said. Sadly, this is maybe the most important and happiest Christmas that some of them will have. Some of these children have never received a Christmas gift in their entire lives and have never heard about the love of Jesus. And this is a place where they will experience that. And so I say sadly because it makes me sad that they haven't heard about it before, that they haven't received that special attention, but I'm glad that we're here to do that, and it's a privilege to be a part of it.
And we got a lot of people that are coming during this time of the year.
Oh, a lot.
People that are coming by and visiting. Tell us what the Children's Hospital Foundation Board has been doing.
The Children's Hospital Foundation Board is a group of really dynamic and committed leaders from all over the valley who come together quarterly to convene, to ask themselves how they can make a difference for the institution, and they do it in various ways. One thing they do is to oversee the gala, and I think expanding from that, many of them bring their family and their friends in to become interested in the hospital and entreat them to become supporters. Some of their corporations are big supporters. A lot of networking, a lot of friend-raising and fundraising goes on with that board.
So during the last 10 years, I know that as I've been here, the community is becoming more and more aware of this precious jewel that we have, as it were, the Children's Hospital.
Yes.
A few years ago, it seemed like there was almost some barriers and walls around the institution, and it was the outside and then the inside. But there's been a lot of things done during the last few years. The gala has been one of those things. I know for the first few years the gala was being held here. Where are you conducting the gala now?
We have conducted it now at the Orange Show Fairgrounds, at the Ontario Convention Center, at Riverside Convention Center, and it will be at the Riverside Convention Center this next spring. So
people from the entire area are hearing about that. Tell us about what some of the people are doing in terms of estate planning and so forth, because this is a wonderful opportunity. There may be some people, even now, that are watching television that could be remembering the Children's Hospital. Tell us some of the things what they're doing.
Absolutely. You know, this is a critical time for all of us, Lynn, and it's no surprise when you and I acknowledge that this has been a tough economy. One of the things that we are seeing is that people's hearts are large anyway, and they're looking to give in different ways. So one of the things that we are experiencing is that people are thinking even more about the legacy that they will leave behind, and they're looking to give in planning to give. And so we've been working with a lot of people who want to remember the children in their wills, in their last will and testament, in bequests, in things of that nature. And we are extremely grateful because we have funds coming in to support the children now, but we also need to plan for the future. And the only way that we'll be able to do that is to partner with people who are also willing to plan for the future with us. And that makes a huge difference.
So some people that aren't able to give large gifts now, by planning ahead and remembering, I mean, if somebody wanted to remember the Children's Hospital, what would they do?
Well, they would call our office and we would share with them how they could do that. It's very easy. And our number is 909-558-3557, or just call the hospital and ask for the philanthropy department. And we would work with them to share, you know, the kinds of wording they would need, or any. We have services that can actually, gentlemen who can actually sit with them to share how to do that. So
people that are professionals and expert and know exactly how to dot the I's, cross the T's, and make sure that everything's carried on. And this is a wonderful way for people to leave, as you mentioned, a legacy, something that's going to be making a difference. Right now, we got kids that are in the hospital, but the kids that are in the hospital now are benefiting from on the things and the research that's gone on during the last 15, 20, or even 25 years, as you were mentioning here.
Yes.
And the future is just filled with all kinds of challenges, and this would be a wonderful way in which people can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Well, as I think of our listening audience, we've got people from around the world that are watching, and we're getting a little bit of a glimpse here of some of the things. Can you think of any other experience in the last minute or so here of any child that you encountered or parent that you might share here with the audience?
Well, I want to leave with everyone the understanding that this is a happy place, that this is a place where people receive hope and healing. And it is a place where they can meet Jesus, and it is a place where many of them acknowledge that they do. And although we have a lot of very serious things going on, if you would like to come over and take a look around, let me know, because I will show you a most joyful place with people who love and care to make a difference.
So even people that are watching here, if they happen to come into the Loma Linda area, they could come and have a tour of the Children's Hospital.
We'd be happy to share, yes.
Look through and see all the many different things that are taking place there. Well, for the listening audience that's looking on, again, we've seen a little bit of a glimpse into the wonderful things that are happening over there at the Children's Hospital. It is indeed truly a place of miracles. This last year we've celebrated the 25th anniversary of the first infant heart transplant. That is, Patty has let us know that almost 2,000 infant heart transplants have taken place as a result of the groundbreaking work here at Loma Linda. Again, as we think of these little children and think of the Children's Hospital as a place of miracles, you know, God's performing miracles all the time. And for those of you that are looking on, I know that right now that God's got a plan and a purpose for you and for your life. If you'll give Him an opportunity, He will open and close doors that you'll be able to discern His will for your life. Again, I am Lynn Martell for our Journey of Hope. We want to thank you for joining us in this program and look forward to seeing you this next week. Until that time, goodbye and God bless you, each one.